گھوڑے سے گرے، عباس کو جلتے خاک ملی، شبیر کا دامن چھٹ نہ سکا، شبیر کا دامن چھٹ نہ سکا، بہتا ہوا دریا چھوٹ گیا، کیا کیا چھوٹ گیا، گھبرا کے نکل آئی بانو، بے شیر کا جھولا چھوٹ گیا، عاشور کو جلتے خیموں میں۔ درود ہونے والے
بار دیگر نعرہ صلوات۔ مریم سے بھی بطول کو رتبہ سوا ملا، مریم سے بھی بطول کو رتبہ سوا ملا، بابا سے رسول سا خیر الورا ملا، بیٹا ہر ایک شہید رہے کبریا ملا، شوہر ملا تو خلق کا عقدہ کشا، ملا، ہر ایک اپنے مرتبے میں انتخاب ہے، ہر ایک اپنے مرتبے میں انتخاب ہے، زہرا ہے بے مثال علی لاجواب ہے، ہر ایک اپنے مرتبے میں انتخاب ہے، زہرا ہے بے مثال علی لاجواب ہے، مریم سے بھی بطول کو بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So dear brothers and sisters, the topic for this year's majalis is enduring lessons from the qiyam or uprising of Lady Fatima. We're going to be taking her as our teacher, inshallah, over these nights. What happens is that she used that time between the time of the demise of the Prophet and her own martyrdom to be a time for her to teach the community and to ready the community for their responsibilities, to accept the wilayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. And then the other thing that we want to do is, so for what we're trying to do is to use this to prepare ourselves to accept the wilayah of the Imam of our time. Salawat, please. So when I said learn from this experience, what I mean is this. She was facing a community that had at least two areas of weakness. One of the areas of weakness of her community was that they were actually, practically speaking, not ready for the wilayah of Ali. It doesn't mean that they weren't there on the day of Ghadir. It doesn't mean that they hadn't made bay'ah. It doesn't mean that they didn't have love of Ali. That they wouldn't cry if they saw that Ali was in a difficult situation. That was there, but that, compared to what wilayah really is, no. The community wasn't ready for the wilayah of Ali. That's one. Jazakumullah khair. The second thing was that the community had to practically demonstrate their wilayah and defend Islam when it came to the social and political parts of Islam. And the community also wasn't ready. So what happens is, the beautiful thing about the Lady Fatima is that she didn't abandon the community. She didn't say, well, the community is then going to the hellfire. May Allah destroy them? No. She went in, she engaged with the community. And she took at least 10 practical steps that we can say, over 10 practical steps that she took to bring her community to the right way. Brothers and sisters, we're not going to rush. This is only a 3-day program. It's important for us to learn the principles, to make sure we've understood them. Then we implement them, and then after that, that we go over and share these teachings in smaller circles. Now, there's one principle that I talked about last night, and I'll touch on it again, inshallah, this time. But remember the first lesson, for those of you who were there last night. The first lesson from the lady was this. She went to the doors of the believers, the Muhajirin and the Ansar, and she talked to them about what happened. One-on-one engagement, talking, explaining what the principles are, what we're supposed to do. Right? So we want to learn from that. We want to make sure that we apply that. When I say that we want to go over and learn from her, then again, in smaller circles, we make sure, inshallah, that we do that. But I want to answer a couple of questions first. One of them is this. Lady Fatima, our claim is this. She saw that Islam was in danger. When they didn't support Ali ibn Abi Talib, she saw Islam was in danger. And her qiyam, her uprising was to save Islam. And she did. She did save Islam. If we see that she saved Islam, you and I, how are we believers right now? The victories that you see of Islam currently, when you see the victories of the Islamic Republic, those are because those are lessons learned from the lady and then applied So she was able to save Islam. But that first statement that I made, that she saw Islam was in danger, that's a big statement. And you and I, when we need to talk to other people about this, we need to make sure that they understand. Why is it that she would say Islam was in danger? Islam was in danger. Because if you remember, those of you who were there last night, I explained that when Imam Khomeini, may Allah have mercy on his soul, when he was explaining what happened, he said when they took the government away from Ali, when they made Ali not be able to be the wali of the society, he says that was more devastating than what happened on Ashura. What happened on Ashura was the results of taking away the wilayah from Ali. The damage had been done. So what does that mean? Why would we say Islam is in danger? Important for us to keep in mind. Salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Now, the reason is this. You and I, we've learned that Islam is a package. Islam gives us guidance in every area of life. Islam tells us what to do before we are born, what our parents are supposed to do, and then after we die, after we're put in the ground, 6 feet under, Islam has instructions. Every area of life, marriage, jobs, interactions with non-Muslims, in every area of life, Islam has instructions. One of those areas of instruction is the social and political arena, the political wilayah of Ahlul Bayt. And this is the part that's very important for us, because we learn, and we're going to, inshallah, if we get a chance, we'll cover the verses later. We're supposed to believe in the mu'mineen, believe in one another. What does that mean when we believe in one another? You and I know this about Muslims. If Muslims can identify what the problem is, what the issue is, if they can see the dangers that are there, believers, mu'mineen, will act. So we want to make sure everybody understands what Islam is, what their responsibility is. Once we see what our duty is, then you can expect, inshallah, believers will come and do their responsibility. So what was the question? The question was, why would she think Islam was in danger? Since Islam is a package, since Islam is a whole way of life, if you take away one part of Islam, what's left is not Islam. Islam is not a buffet. Otherwise, you and I know that in the beginning, the believers were praying, they were fasting, they were giving zakat, they were waging jihad, right? Everything that you could want from a Muslim community. I'm talking about right after the death of Rasulullah. That's how much better does it get? Right? Everybody doing all of their wajibat, all the hijab, beard, khums, all of those things, alhamdulillah. But what happened? They wanted to not observe the wilayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib, not have his political leadership, not do the social and political parts of Islam. We covered the ahadith yesterday, that in Islam we're told, whoever hears, man sami'a rajulan, whoever hears a person, yunadi, ya lil muslimin, calling out for help, calling to the Muslims for help, falam yujib, who doesn't answer this Muslim, falaysa bi Muslim, this person isn't a Muslim. So in Islam, this is part of the responsibility. And now she's seeing that, practically speaking, her community, it's not man sami'a rajulan, you hear the daughter of the prophets calling. Now is the time. I'm calling to you for help. And the community is not doing that. Why could a community get that way? When we think or we compartmentalize Islam. Islam is one thing, the social political responsibilities of Islam are something else. So, what does Islam teach us? Islam teaches us, this is a story now, we can look in the Quran, Surah Baqarah, verse number 84 and 85. Allah teaches us a very important concept. He says that at one time, there was a group of the Yahud. And these Yahud were very interesting individuals. What were these Yahud like? It was interesting that these people would turn against the other Yahud, the other Jews. They would drive them out of their homes. They would back one another up in doing aggression against them. They would usurp, they would do so many haram things to them, even kill them. But what was so interesting about the Yahud is that the Quran mentions that later, if they were brought back and they come now as prisoners, as usara, then the Yahud would go over and they would refer to their divine teachings and they say that we have responsibilities. These are the Yahud. They've been brought to us as usara. We have to liberate them. We have to pay their ransom. So from one side, you're killing them, you're driving them out of their homes, you're oppressing them. From the other side, you're suddenly holy now and saying, so what's the problem? In Islam, brothers and sisters, Islam, as I said, is a package. We don't get to believe in part and reject part. As the Quran speaks, when talking about the same Yahud, he says, أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Do you have iman in part of the book, and then you have kufr to the other part? That's not Islam. In Islam, it's all of Islam. The whole package. You can't, this part is a favorable law. I like this law. No, that's not Islam. Otherwise, we have to say the Khawarij are also mu'mineen. Remember the Khawarij? I shared this story before of the Khawarij, how when they went to get Abdullah bin Khabbab, they went over and he was the governor of Amirul Mu'mineen. They said, what would you believe about Ali? He said the right things. They said, you're following personalities? We're going to kill you in a way we haven't killed anybody. They took this man, chained, took him to a date tree. When they took him to the date tree, and his wife was heavily pregnant. Then there was some dates that fell from the tree. And when those dates fell from the tree, then one of the Khawarij, he picked up the dates, he started eating the dates. The other Khawarij, Astaghfirullah, that's haram, you're eating dates without permission. And he, Astaghfirullah, he spit the dates out. And then a pig came by. And one of the Khawarij, a khinzir pig, he killed it. Astaghfirullah, it's fasad in the earth. You killed a pig without permission? Astaghfirullah, I killed a pig without permission. Who's the owner of the pig? The owner isn't even Muslim. Let me go over, I'm so sorry, I killed your pig. Astaghfirullah, that was so wrong. Then after that, then they killed Khabbab. Not only did they kill Khabbab, they killed Khabbab's wife. They took the baby, they slit open her stomach, they took the baby out. So you murder, that's not part of Islam? Why only one part? Halal, eating halal and haram, organic chicken, haram. Right, that's a big part of it. What about the rest of Islam? So, back to the question. Why is it that Lady Fatima felt Islam was in danger? Because you can't take out part of Islam. We don't have our favorite parts of Islam. Islam is not a buffet. All of Islam, whatever Allah says. However Allah says it, and the verse of Quran are very clear. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Surah 8, verse number 1. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Obey Allah and His Messenger. إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. If you are believers. In Islam, we can't pick and choose. All of Islam, whatever Allah says. So, the other one that I shared last night, and I just want to summarize this very quickly for us to go and then learn the lessons. What does it mean to have the wilayah? The wilayah of the Ahlul Bayt. As I said in the beginning of the speech, it's not about love. Otherwise, everyone has love for Amirul Mu'mineen. Everyone has love for Lady Fatima. Even those who were doing what they did at the door. Some of those individuals felt terrible, but they still did it. So, is it enough? Is it enough for me to say, I have love of Amirul Mu'mineen? I grieve when they're grieved? No, that's not wilayah. Wilayah is something more than that. Wilayah is going to be that I have their world view. I see things the way they see things. I have the values they have as values as my values. This part, the next part's very important. My emotions are in line with the emotions of the Ahlul Bayt. How does my wali tell me to think? How does my wali tell me to feel? Because wilayah, the word wilayah, you know, it's that connection, that bond that we have with Ali ibn Abi Talib. He is my role model. How he says think, I think. How he says feel, I feel. His lifestyle is my lifestyle. Then I can be a wali. His enemies are my enemies. His friends are my friends. His stances are my stances. Then I have wilayah. So she saw her community, one, Islam is in danger. Two, they don't have that wilayah, and they're not ready. So then what did she do? Because the Imam told us, our living Imam, Imam Mahdi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in that beautiful hadith, he says, وَفِي إِبْنَةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ لِي أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. He says that for me, as the Imam, in the Lady Fatima, is uswatun hasana, the best example, the best example. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn from our spiritual mother. What did she do? Did she abandon her community when she saw that they weren't ready, that they didn't have the wilayah, that they weren't ready for the social political part of Islam? What did she do? What was her response? Now, also, inshallah, brothers and sisters, know that we're supposed to have a brother come after me. Brother Ali Juma is supposed to recite the Masa'ib. So just so that we know that the Masa'ib are coming, that's after this, inshallah, we'll have those Masa'ib, and I tell brothers and sisters, inshallah, to all wait, and we'll all, inshallah, grieve together. So, yesterday we started talking about, but see, brothers and sisters, let's make this practical. There's one time when you and I just enumerate facts. That doesn't do us much good. If we can learn lessons, get durus, change ourselves, and become the way that the Lady Fatima wanted us to be, then we can say that alhamdulillah, we've used this Fatimiya well. So what she did, and I mentioned this in the beginning of the speech, was that she went to the doors of the believers to engage one-on-one in explaining and trying to bring people to true Islam. Now when she did that, she put, and all of us know this, she put herself and her children in harm's way. Because she went to the door, she took Imam Hassan, she took Imam Hussein, and she was mobilizing the believers. Now what happens when you mobilize the believers, you're telling the believers not to be afraid, to only fear God. And she's putting herself, she's going over and she's doing that. She's leading us by example. It's true there are some dangers that come along in this way, but you do your responsibility. You go over, you talk, you explain, you take your stance, you don't run and hide. The same way that is mentioned in the Quran, فَلَا تَخَافُوهُمْ, don't fear them, وَخَافُونِي إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Now, the question is this, how can we become like this? How can we get to that stage that literally, the only thing, the same way that Lady Fatima was trying to teach us, what is my taklif? What is my responsibility? Whatever Islam says, all of Islam, especially the parts that are involved with the wilayah of the Imam, that I do those things. How do I get there? That's the part that's really important for us, so that we feel the way the Ahlul Bayt said for us to feel. So we do our responsibilities. Because what happens is, let me share a hadith for you from the first Imam, Ali ibn Abi Talib. So what we learn from our Imam is this. As long as you and I are doing our responsibility, when we do our taklif, our responsibility, the work of God, it doesn't affect us adversely here, even in this world. What do I mean by that? There's no challenges in the way? Absolutely. But listen to the words of the Imam. What does he say? Innal amr bil ma'ruf. Truly, when you do amr bil ma'ruf, when you stand up for what's right, when you defend your wali, when you take the political stances Islam wants you to take, innal amr bil ma'ruf wa nahi anil munkar, and stopping and forbidding evil, he says, La yuqarribani min ajalin. It doesn't shorten your lifespan. Wala yanqusani min rizqin. The rizq that you're supposed to have, the money that you're supposed to have, your financial, because these are fears that stop people from doing their responsibility. He says that when you do amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar, it doesn't shorten your lifespan, and also it doesn't take away from your rizq. So now, how can you and I feel like that? To literally, all I do is, what's my taklif right now? I'm not worried. I'm not operating out of fear. I want to give you some verses of Quran for brothers and sisters to contemplate, and then later a true life story that inshallah can help us get this understanding. So we as believers do our job. So this first one is from Surah 4 and verse number 78. This is what God says. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في برج مشيدة. Wherever you are, death will overtake you, even if you're in lofty towers. أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت. That verse of Quran saying that كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Everybody has to go one day. We all have to go one day. Death, we can't cheat death by not doing our responsibility. I have the best and most secure life insurance. I have the best doctors. I drive a Volvo. Huh? Am I safe? Can't cheat death. أينما كنتم يدرككم الموت. What else? The other one is this. God also explains to us in the Quran. He says, قُلْ لَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُيُوتِكُمْ. There's a certain time and a place where you're supposed to die. There's a certain time and a place where you're supposed to die. You can't cheat death. You can't go anywhere. You're going to die where you're supposed to die. There's no getting around what Allah says. And I'm going to show you practically how this applies. But look at this. It says, قُلْ لَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُيُوتِكُمْ. Even if you were in your homes, لَبَرَزَ الَّذِينَ كُتِبَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقَاتِلِ إِلَى مَضَاجِعِهِمْ. Those people who were supposed to die, who were supposed to be killed, they would have went to their places of rest. They were going to go, eventually you die one way or the other. Either you die the right way, you do your responsibilities, or you die with dhillah, but you don't live longer, you don't cheat God, you don't. So now a practical example. True story. This guy says that I was riding in a vehicle with the leader. This is before he's the leader. He's the representative of Imam at that time, and he goes to a place called Dehlara. So I'm riding with him, we're in a vehicle, he's the representative of the Imam. He's a representative of the Imam, so he's going over to make a report. When the enemies, the local spies get word that the representative of Imam Khomeini is in this area, they decide we have to either kill him or capture him. So what they do is they try to capture him. The spies have let them know, they're in their jeep. He says from 3 directions, the enemy started to close in on us. Armored personnel carriers bearing down on us, and we're driving in this jeep. What happens is the man who's driving, older gentleman, who's driving the vehicle, the person who's telling the story, he says he was the second in charge, the second in command in the Revolutionary Guard in that area, and the first, like the general, the chief of the Revolutionary Guard, he's also in the same vehicle. So you have the representative of the Imam, and you have the chief and second in command. They're all sitting on the vehicle. He's telling the story. So he says when the enemy's coming in, closing in from 3 directions with armored personnel carriers, the guy started driving like a madman to escape. And he's driving. And then the leader tapped him on the shoulder. He said, slow down. He said the guy looked at him like angry. He said, slow down. He said, if we're supposed to make it, we're gonna make it. Relax. The guy slowed down a little bit. Then he said, we saw the armored personnel carriers getting close to us. He says, even me, myself, I'm like, why won't he let him drive? The guy again starts driving so fast. The leader says, he started talking to him like a father talks to his son. Slow down. It's going to be okay. I'm guaranteeing you we're going to make it out. He says, I was looking at him, and because he says, he's sitting there so calm and dignified, driving in this vehicle, and we're just moving in that certain direction. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So we're driving in this vehicle, we're moving at top speed, and he slows him down. He says, if we're supposed to go, we're gonna go. Slow down. We slowed down and we made it out of there. We made it out of that area. Just as he said, we made it out of that area. After we made it in the area, now we're secure, then he said this. He told them, he said, stop the vehicle. He told the guy was so nervous, he said, do you smoke? The guy was like, yeah, I smoke cigarettes. He said, have a cigarette. After he calmed down, he said, look, This is the part that we, أينما كنتم يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة. He says, look. He says, he recited a verse of Quran and he said this. He says, if we were supposed to die, if we were supposed to go, we would have either gone in an accident, that vehicle would have flipped, and we would have all been killed, or the enemy would have gotten us. The enemy would close in on us and we would be finished. If we were supposed to live, even if the enemy closed the way and God didn't will us to die, we wouldn't die. It's in Allah's hands. The message is to die with your boots on. Do your responsibility. Do your responsibility. So one of the lessons that Lady Fatima taught us was this one of being able to do our responsibility. Not being afraid. Not being intimidated. Just looking to see what our responsibility is and doing that. Instead of when believers get intimidated or impressed. I want to give you guys two examples. One of them was, I remember when I was in Iran, I saw this. There were some students who had come from the West. They'd come from the West. And these individuals, when they went to Iran, these were the people who were the mu'mineen back home. They were so pious and practicing and doing all the right things. When they came to Iran, one strange thing I noticed about them was they start picking on the faults of what's happening over there. For instance, the streets, the way that the people, the way they drive their traffic. Right? I don't know how many of you have been to Iran, but the traffic over there, at least when I was over there, sometimes you feel like you make ghusl shahada first, then you go. They would look at the cleanliness of the people. The people sometimes, they're picking their nose, right? They see these different things. And so they would start to talk and say, oh, this is so bad. We're supposed to be Muslims. Why? What happened though? These individuals, their feelings and emotions aren't in line with their wali. Give you an example. So these same people are so upset. And then we have a hadith, an-nidhafa min al-iman, being clean is part of faith. So what's wrong with that? No, of course, you're supposed to be clean. That's not the point. These individuals used to say that back home, people are so organized. Back home, people are so clean. Right? In the West, wherever they were from. And look at these dirty. Now look at this point though. See if we can get this point. These same individuals, when they're back home, they're living under the rule of kufr. How come that doesn't bother them? If I'm so upset, if it's because of Allah, right, then I should be so upset when Allah's upset. Why is it that the things Allah places value on, those things aren't? But sometimes what happens is, sometimes we're impressed. We're intimidated. Instead of seeing, God, I want to talk about how to get to that stage. Sometimes we're impressed, we're intimidated, we can't say the right things. I remember one time when I was a much younger man. I'm still young now. A much younger man. There was a good person, good-hearted person. He told me, he was telling me, giving me advice. He was a scholar, giving me advice. He said, you, of all people, don't need to speak about the oppression that takes place in America. You don't talk about that. He says, because you're African American, if people see you talking about it, they'll say you're angry because you didn't get a piece of the pie. They're successful, they're doctors, they're engineers, they're whatever they are. You don't talk about that. You let somebody else talk, somebody who's made it, not you. Instead of the truth being important, my race matters? Now, where does this, for us as Muslims, we can't speak out against what's happening? We can't talk? Do we have to feel like second-class citizens? Or is it the truth that matters? When can we overcome that colonialist mentality that stops us as Muslims from raising our voices and taking the rights that we have as Muslims, as people who are living in this country? How can I break that mentality? Instead of seeing, I'm from somewhere else. I'm lucky to be here. My country is so... Instead of the truth, I'm a believer. You know how we fix this? We have to fix this by correcting our relationship with God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When divine values become important for us, when we start seeing the world as God sees it, then we can stand and do our responsibility. And the hadith of the Imam is this: عَظُمَ الْخَالِقُ فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ فَصَغُرَ مَا دُونَهُ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ. Allah is so grand, the Khaliq is so grand in the eyes of the believers, everything else is insignificant. It doesn't matter now the number of the others, what they've done, if they sent a man to the moon, all that matters is what Allah says, my responsibilities. If I'm like that, I can be like the Hupu. Remember the Hudhud in the Quran? The Hudhud came back from the land of the Queen of Sheba. And that was a might. God describes the kingdom. She had been given a kingdom. Everything you could want was in her kingdom. And she had that mighty throne. But when the Hudhud came back, and the Hudhud, a bird was talking, the Hudhud said that, what's wrong with these people? Shaitans fooled them. The Hudhud wasn't that great civilization. Oh my God, who are we? The Hudhud was like, they don't even have the basics together. They're worshiping the sun. I mean, what's going on here? The ma'rifah even of the Hudhud enables someone to go over and speak and say, no, this is right, this is wrong, this is correct, this is incorrect. So, another thing that we have to do is this. A lesson that we have to learn is our believing in our own strength and abilities. The Lady Fatima did this. How did she do this? She went up and did her uprising. When she did her uprising, and she tried to go to the mu'mineen, and I said she took over 10 steps. Inshallah, we'll at least cover one more tonight. What she did was she went to the doors of the believers, she sacrificed, she talked, she explained. How many people came forward? Remember? 4. When they came to defending the practical right of the Ahlul Bayt. But did she look at the numbers and say, oh, nobody came, nobody showed up? Why is this important for you and I? There's some people, when it comes to the political side of Islam, like for instance Quds, some people will look at the numbers of believers and say, oh, but I don't see anybody's out there. Only 20 people came, only 30. They look at the numbers instead of looking at their responsibility. They're intimidated because... Whereas that's not the Islam. What is your job? What is your duty? She took her stand. 4 came, but Islam was saved. Now if you see the revolution, that's because of the steps she took. Why are we? Because of the steps she took. What's the lesson? Every step that you take for Islam counts. It doesn't matter your numbers. All that matters is if you do your responsibility. Just now, if you guys remember, with Sister Marzia Hashemi. She was in the prison, solitary confinement. Even the family doesn't know where she is. What chance, this is an example for all of us, what chance did she have against the United States justice system? A court-appointed lawyer, no chance, Muslim, working for Press TV. And then what happened? A small number of the mu'mineen rose and did their responsibility. If you looked at the pictures, sometimes in Sydney, I remember, maybe 20 mu'mineen and mu'minat standing out there. 20. In this city, so few. In this city, so few. They did their job though. And Allah has taught, we learned this principle last night. When you do your part, Allah does His. You stand for the truth. You do your responsibility. It doesn't matter your numbers. As long as you're doing your job. God liberated Sister Marzia Hashim. And as long as we do our part, God will do His. So you and I, we're not concerned about that. We have to believe in ourselves in that way. Believe that if we do our part, we... So now, the next and the last lesson for tonight. What else did the lady do? What else did the lady do? The next step that the lady did was this. she boycotted the proceedings of the authorities. She turned her house into the center of the resistance. They weren't going to make bay'ah. They're coming and they're staying in their house. And remember, and I'm not going to recite the Masa'ib. Brother will inshallah recite the Masa'ib. But what's the facts? And then after that, the lesson that we learn. So what she did was she said that we're not going to make bay'ah. The authorities came to the house. When the authorities came to the house, they said they were going to take Ali out by force. She would not allow them to do that. They said that they were going to burn the house down. She said, you're going to burn the house down with us in it? They said, we're in, even if you're in it. And they attacked. And they dragged Ali out. And they beat the lady. You remember what happened next? She goes to the masjid afterwards. And she comes to the masjid. She said, either you let Ali go, or I'm going to go to the graveyard of Rasulullah, and I'm going to make dua. All of you will be destroyed. The uproar started from that, and then they went and they let Ali go. There's a big lesson, though, for all of us to keep in mind. What is the principle that the lady taught us in that step? Brothers and sisters, nothing is more important than Islam. Your position, your job, your institutions, your organizations, nothing is more important than Islam itself. And that has to stay the same for us. None of these things that we've been gifted because of Islam can become an idol that we worship independent of Allah. Otherwise, remember the story. She's the most popular person in Medina. Rasulullah would take her and he would explain her status with God to the people. Everybody loved Rasulullah. Then you take her and his daughter is there. Whoever bothers her, whoever harms her, has harmed Allah. Whoever doesn't know her, she's the daughter of Muhammad. If you remember, even the Prophet, normally when a father comes into a room, the daughter stands up out of respect for her father. The Prophet stood up out of respect for the lady. He would make her sit in his spot. And she took all of that popularity, the name, the respect. She put it all on the line for Islam. Now, before I end, so I just want to say just a few lines just from the thing. Inshallah, the brother will read the ziyarah. There's been a request that we read Surah Fatiha for Brother Mahbub Ali Rajab Ali, Alima Shivji, and Ali Akbar, Akbar Ali Qasim Ali. So first read Surah Fatiha. Assalamu alayki ayyatuha as-siddiqatu ash-shahida. Assalamu alayki ayyatuha al-madhlumatu al-maghsuba. Assalamu alayki ayyatuha al-muftahadatu al-maqhura. Assalamu alayki ya Fatima bint Rasulullah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. ثانية على حب الزهراء صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. For the hastening of the return of our Imam صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة وموضع الرسالة ومختلف الملائكة وخزان العلم. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, my beloved only Prophet and the Ahl al-Bayt. It was in your homes that Allah blessed us with guidance and revelation, and upon you descend the angels day in and day out. Assalamu alayki ya binta Rasulillah. Peace be upon you, O daughter of the Holy Prophet. Assalamu alayki ya al-Hasani wal-Husayn. Peace be upon you, O mother of Hassan and Husayn. Assalamu alayki ayyatuha al-madlumatu al-maghsuba. Peace be upon you, O oppressed one, whose right has been taken wrongfully. Dear brothers and sisters, we all know who Lady Fatima is. She is the daughter of our beloved Prophet. She is the wife of Ali. She is the mother of Hassan and Hussein. She is the mother of all of the Imams. The Prophet has said that Fatima is a part of me. Whoever angers her has angered me, and whoever has angered me has angered Allah. When the time came that the Holy Prophet has passed away, the true intentions of the people have become revealed. The right of Imam Ali was stolen, and power has been put into evil hands. The tragedies have only begun for Ali and Fatima. The hardships of the Ahl al-Bayt were just beginning. After so much grieving for her father, soon after, the door of Sayyida Fatima was approached one day by the enemies. This was not any ordinary door. This is the door of prophethood. This is the door that Rasulullah himself would knock on to seek permission to enter. This is the door that the angels would ask permission to enter. This is the door of Fatima. The enemies Ali's knocked on the door. The first one to respond is Fatima. The first defender of the wilayah of Ali is Fatima. Fatima is behind the door talking to the oppressors. They say they want Ali to come out and give allegiance. Lady Fatima resists the words of the enemies and holds her ground. After some time, the Khalif yelled that if Ali does not come out, we will burn the house down with everyone in it. Fatima said that there are young children in the house. There is Hassan and Hussein. Surely you know how dear these two were to your Prophet. They didn't even care in the least. They still wanted Ali to come out. It has been narrated that the companions of the enemy have said to the Khalif, are you really going to burn the house? Do you know who is behind that door? It is Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet. It is said that the Khalif said, so what if it is Fatima behind the door? He ordered the wood to be placed by the door. The house was lit on fire, but Lady Fatima held her ground at the door. As the smoke built and the fire increased, it is said that the enemy pushed the door with such force that it knocked Sayyidah Fatima back to the wall of the house. The enemy put so much pressure on Sayyidah Fatima with the door. It is said that a scream was heard from Lady Fatima that all of Medina could hear. She yelled, Wa Muhammadan, Wa Muhammadan. The daughter of the Prophet was crushed between the door and the wall. The enemy swarmed the house to grab Ali. It is said that Lady Fatima still tried to defend Ali. It is said that the cursed enemy beat and slapped Lady Fatima until she became unconscious. The pregnant daughter of the Prophet has lost her baby Muhsin in the attack. Ali is tied up and dragged out of the house. Imagine what was going through Ali's mind when he sees his Fatima on the floor. But he cannot do anything except remain patient for the sake of Islam. They drag Ali to the masjid through the city. Lady Fatima has been attacked. She lost her baby. She has been crushed behind the door and has had her ribs broken. Let the ribs of Fatima remind you of the ribs of Hussein. Let the ribs of Sayyidina Fatima remind you of the ribs of Hussein that were crushed by the hooves of the horses in Karbala, with no water or protector, with no Abbas, no Akbar, no Qasim, no Habib. وفاطمة 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 يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجية عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا وجية اشفعي لنا عند الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا على بيت محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون. Oh Allah, we ask you by the way of Fatima and her father and her husband Ali and her kids to please hasten the return of the reappearance of our Imam, to forgive our sins and cure our sick, Ya Allah. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin. Salawat ala Muhammad wa alihi. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
फातिमा ज़हरा 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 जियो फातिमा ज़हरा 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 मोमिनीन फातिमा ज़हरा हुस्न हुस्न फातिमा ज़हरा जियो फातिमा ज़हरा 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 बर दरबार में रोती रही खड़ी ज़हरा बर दरबार में روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں جیو روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا ماشاءاللہ دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار سارے بلند ترین آواز میں کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں نہ جانے کس طرح نہ جانے کس طرح حق مانگتی رہی زہرا بھر دربار روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں 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 سند کے ٹکڑے ہوا میں اڑا کے ہنسنے لگا رسول زادی سے گستاخ ایسے کہنے لگا بتاؤ کون سی بتاؤ کون سی جاگیر ہے تیری زہرا بھر دربار جیو مومنین سلامت رہے روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں 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 سند کے ٹکڑے ہوا میں اڑا کے ہنسنے لگا رسول زادی سے گستاخ ایسے کہنے لگا بتاؤ کون سی بتاؤ کون سی جاگیر ہے تیری زہرا بھر دربار جیو روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر جیو جوان سلامت رہو شاد آباد رہو روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار سارے مل کے روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا بھر دربار میں 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 حسن حسین سے سچے گواہ بھی جھٹلائے رولا کے بی بی کو ظالم نایا نہ شرمائے بھولا نہ پائے گی بھولا نہ پائے گی امت کی بے رخی زہرا روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا
جو
میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں
یہ اس کی بیٹی اس نے دو لخت چاند کیا وہ جس کے نور روشنی کو ماند کیا اسے ستاؤ نا اسے ستاؤ نا دکھیار ہے بڑی زہرا
میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا
میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی
زہرا
میرے دربار میں یہ اس کی بیٹی ہے جس نے دو لخت چاند کیا وہ جس کے نور نے ہر روشنی کو ماند کیا اسے ستاؤ نا اسے ستاؤ نا دکھیار بڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں
روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں روتی رہی کھڑی زہرا میرے دربار میں
حسن حسین سے سچے گواہ بھی جھٹلائے رلا کے بی بی کو ظالم ذرا نہ شرمائے بھلا نہ پائے گی بھلا نہ پائے گی امت کی بے رخی